Ruth, Julia Garner, is being interrogated by Agent Trevor Evans, McKinley Belcher, III, and Special Agent Maya Miller, Jessica Francis Dukes, about the men who were killed and about Marty Byard as Netflix Ozark Season 3 Episode 7 begins. Helen, Janet McTeer, is there to represent her. The agents ask about her relationship with Frank Jr., and Ruth tries to claim she barely talks to him. But Agent Miller jumps in saying that is not entirely true because she sees them at the casino talking quite a bit. Miller thinks they don't seem to like each other. Marty, Jason Bateman, and Frank Cosgrove meet up, and it's obvious Frank's pissed and demands to know what's going on. Marty informs him the cartel is involved in a war right now with another cartel. Frank seems to think it's awfully suspicious that Ruth was able to walk away fine from what happened while 3 of his men died. Marty suggests he cool off and keep his head down. Frank warns Marty he's not a patient man. Back at the Bird home, Jonah, Skylar Gertner, shows Charlotte, Sophia Hublitz, the drone video of what took place. She asks if he's shown it to their mom and dad, and he confesses he hasn't because Ben told him not to. Ben doesn't want Marty and Wendy to freak out that Jonah was there. He asks Charlotte if she thinks he should show it to their parents anyway. She tells him not to, concerned it will give them something else to argue about. Ben, Tom Pelfrey, waits at the sheriff's station for Ruth and is slowly losing his cool. Back in the interrogation room, Evans explains they found her tire tracks even though she continues to deny being there. Evans tries to get her by bringing up her loyalty to Marty and her father's murder. She tells him she suspects a lot of people wanted her dad dead. He tries one last time and brings up her uncles as well. She and Helen have had enough and get up to leave. As Ruth and Ben are walking out of the sheriff's station, Ben tries to convince her to go on the run. She doesn't feel as though she can just pick up and leave. After Ruth asks Ben if he's okay, he questions her about what his sister has told her. He seems to convince her that Wendy left when she was 18, so she has no idea what he's really like. Helen visits the Byard house to assure them the other cartel left town. Wendy sarcastically tells her she said that last time when they all knew that wasn't true. Ben returns home angry and Wendy asks how Ruth's doing. He replies, "How do you think she is doing?" before walking away. Navarro calls Wendy, but she doesn't pick up. He calls Helen instead, and she puts Wendy on the phone. He wants to know what she plans on doing with the FBI, and he senses she's still mad about what happened at the horse ranch. She lets him know that he messed with their brand, insisting they're trying to do things in a legitimate way for his safety net. His stunt could mess with their brand. For the first time, he doesn't have a response. He finally says, "The next time I call, pick up." Good old Sue, Mary Louise Burke, pulls up in their driveway in a brand new, bright yellow sports car. Marty heads outside to see what's going on, and Sue explains she was worried about him and heard what happened. Marty tries to tell her it's not a good time as he glances back at the house to find Helen and Wendy watching them. Sue won't listen and says people are saying it's the mob, but she thinks it's the cartel. Marty changes the subject by asking, "What the hell is this?" about the car. She informs him it's a car, and he jokes it's a transformer. Helen and Wendy come outside to check out what's going on, and Sue says hi to Wendy before trying to leave. It appears she doesn't know how to drive her fancy sports car yet. Ben frantically packs up his stuff in the basement. He did not listen to Ruth at all. While telling Charlotte and Jonah that Ruth is still probably on their radar, Jonah insists they don't have to run because the cartel doesn't know they were there. Ben's not listening to anything they're trying to tell him. The kids decide it's time to tell their mom what happened. Wendy attempts to calm down her brother by agreeing it's a smart idea they leave. However, she thinks he should leave first, and then they can send Ruth to him. He doesn't believe her and brings up the fact she told Ruth he's not taking his meds anymore. He insists he was going to tell her, but Wendy doesn't believe him. Wendy confesses she's worried about him and that Jonah informed her he took him to the money